Most athletes at this point understand that in order to run faster, you have to generate more force into the ground when sprinting. However, don't understand how to generate more force in the ground. And no, it's not by going to the weight room more or lifting heavier weight, or else just the strongest athletes or the strongest people would also be the fastest people. In this video, I'm going to be using the data uncovered from Usain Bolt's sprinting mechanics to give you a better understanding of what he was able to do in order to run faster, and a big part of it ends up going into his acceleration. A big thing that stands out when you go into the numbers of Usain Bolt is that he was able to get into like 0.81 with his 10-meter split, which is essentially almost 28 miles an hour. But that's not really what impresses me the most, and a lot of people already know about that. What impresses me the most is that in just 12 steps, he went from 0 miles an hour to 24 miles an hour. A lot of people can't even run 24 miles an hour throughout an entire 100-meter race, where Usain Bolt was able to do that in just 12 steps. So getting into the acceleration and the key takeaways that he has during the acceleration is going to be the main point of this video to help you in being able to generate more force in the ground. So let's get into these 4 key secrets that he does during acceleration to make it so he can generate more force in the ground. The first one is going to just come from the leg cycle. So we can see how from the very beginning he's going very in and out with the knee position. So he comes inwards then outwards, and so while he is projecting very far forwards, he picks up more distance per step. You can see first 5, 6, 7 steps he's already in front of everybody, so he's not going so side to side that he's not getting any forward movement. But we do see that he is creating a lot of cycle within the legs in order to make it so, or a lot of action in the legs to make it so he can pick up more distance per step, which I think is important to understand when you're coming out of the blocks. Make sure that you're getting plenty of range in the legs, and your knees are coming kind of in to out, and the legs are coming in to out, or the feet are coming in to out, to make it so he's striking the ground with the foot going outwards instead of inwards, where I see a lot of people make that mistake. Number 2 is he gets very quick to front side extension. If we look to see, like here, this is his 4th step, and sorry this video is a little bit blurry, but this is from when he ran that 9.58. But look at how in the 4th step he's already getting very extended within the leg, and we see some other athletes just a lot more bend here. Obviously these are top, this is the Olympic world stage, so it's not something where it's like these guys are doing it totally wrong. But what just stands out with, because he's still in a good amount of extension there, but what stands out with him is he's getting a lot of extension already within, again, the first 7 steps. As he's striking the ground, that leg is basically all the way straight. So as you're accelerating, be very quick to get front side extension as you're striking the ground, to make it so then you could generate more force into the ground as you are going through the drive phase. Another one, going back to this one, is just going to be the side to side motion he's getting in his head. You can see how he's picking up a lot of distance within like the lane itself. He's getting a lot of range from one side to the other. I'll see some athletes that'll be basically crossing over with their feet. So basically they're running like they're on a tightrope, and I think that's a huge mistake. You want to make sure you're getting a lot of separation in your feet. Look at how much distance he's getting and how wide he's getting with his steps here as he's going through acceleration, which I think is really important to understand. Not only do you want to be getting plenty of range in the lower half, but you also want to be getting a side-to-side action in the upper half to make it so then you can effectively accelerate. And then the last one is going to be the range of motion through the ankle. And I know it's kind of hard to see this, but essentially what you have to be able to do is get reach all the way up as you're coming through with your feet, and then getting plenty of pull or accessible. You can see as he's pushing off how much power he's getting in that push off, then controlling it, right? So it's that action of being able to push off the foot, control it, get the ankle back up or the foot back up. And this is where having that stiff ankle or having very great dorsiflexion is critical when it comes to being able to generate more force in the ground. You have to be able to push and get a lot of force going backwards as the foot's coming off, but then be able to respond by getting the foot back up or toe right back up to then get ready to strike the ground. So the active range within the ankle is going to make a huge difference when it comes to being able to generate more force into the ground. I see a lot of athletes who are struggling with being able to run fast, and a lot of times as they're able to accelerate or as they're going through acceleration, they just don't get much range in the foot. They don't get much lift in the toe as they're going into front side, and therefore do not have the right mechanics built up to be able to run fast. Again, this is going to be within the first 12 to 15 steps how much range he's getting, and you have to be able to build that in order to improve your speed. So now the big thing is going to be, how can you implement this into your own running? Because obviously once you can understand it, once you can see it and visualize it, it's important. But now we want to be able to give you some recommendations to help you in being able to actually use this information when you're going through the practices. And it's going to take you a lot of time. Watch the block start, watch yourself accelerate, get video of yourself accelerating. But if you can work on these exercises, one, a single leg ankle tap, you could do this sitting as well as standing, as well as even moving. We also want to be able to work on a high knee extension, or just being able to optimize the front side. We could do this with a dowel overhead. We could do this just regular running. We could even do things like change jumps, just really putting an emphasis on what I think is then going to be number 3, which is just hip flexor strength. In order to be great with this, you have to have a lot of strength within the hip flexors and even within the lower core. So there's a couple exercises that you could use or you could do to be able to do that. Additionally, with that hip flexor strength, you also have to be able to be very good with your range of motion within the ankle and within the hamstring. So being able to get great extension within the hip and within the leg ends up being a very important part as well. And then the last one is just to have the hip internal rotation to make it so then as you are bringing your leg through, you have plenty of ability to get into not only hip flexion here, but just the internal rotation. That's the action that is within the hip, to be able to feel very comfortable in that position. And this is not something that you obviously have to do to the same degree as Usain Bolt. He's 6'5". Some of you guys that are watching might be 5'10". You don't need to have that much range of motion, but you want to be able to have plenty of range of motion. You don't want to be limited with the range of motion and therefore not be able to have as good of acceleration. Most of the athletes that I see that struggle with acceleration a lot of times is because they have too much stiffness within the low back and within the hips, and therefore not able to accelerate well, where these are going to be very helpful ways to be able to properly address that type of issue. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe. That really makes a big difference for us. And we have a lot of different things in the description down below for any type of programs or coaching that you may be looking to get to help you in improving your own sprinting mechanics. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.